everyone. My name is Isaac Arthur, and I'm from CODO Design here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I want to welcome you back to our series where we're diving into some of the topics, chapters, and theory from our new book bundle, Craft Beer Rebranded. You can check this out and read it for free at craftbeerrebranded.com, or you can buy yourself a 180-page book and a 60-page companion workbook that will help you navigate each step of your brewery's rebrand over there. So check that out. And for today's video, I want to discuss how to define your audience during your rebrand. So starting out, we've run into breweries over the years, really a lot of companies over the years, who were hesitant to pin down their ideal customers because they were worried about leaving anyone out of the loop. There's this idea of, if someone wants to buy my beer, then I want to sell it to them, and that's completely reasonable. But if you define your ideal customers correctly, you may exclude some people, you will exclude some people, and that's okay. Your beer is not for everyone. The people who ardently support you and will fall in love with your story won't just buy your beer, they'll also become passionate brand evangelists and bring family and friends to your brewery, bring your beer to parties, and sing your praises on social media, and really annoyingly in small group gatherings every chance they get. So let's focus on figuring out who these people are. Now, it's probably worth starting out with audience segmentation here. So when defining your audience in a traditional marketing sense, you're mostly focused on segmentation. So this calls for identifying as many distinct audiences as you can. So think of early adopter beer geeks, health-conscious young professionals, empty nesters, value shoppers, foodies, world travelers, and so on. And then you get as granular as possible with demographics and psychographics. So things like gender, age, occupation, household income, brands they like and dislike, and hobbies and stuff like that. You do this in order to identify who are the best people to target your marketing to, and ultimately to increase sales. Now, this is a great exercise to get warmed up. But we find that it's more valuable to think about how your brand itself impacts your customers' lives. What is the role it plays? And then work backwards from there. And we say this because after identifying all of your possible audiences, the next step in segmentation, traditional marketing segmentation, would be to alter your products and messaging, maybe more specifically your messaging, to accommodate these different audiences. Now, this in and of itself isn't bad. You kind of do this within your portfolio naturally, right? You have an easy drinking cream ale for folks that come in and ask for a Miller Lite, or then you have a DEPA for the more serious, seasoned drinker. But where this starts to lose its value is in the craft space, is when your brand messaging and storytelling begin to shift to speak to all of these different people in such varying tones that if one segment sees your ads targeted to a different segment, they would be confused. So realistically, this probably isn't an issue smaller breweries will run into that often, but we did want to mention it because it is an important thing to consider through this process. We think that to be effective, and the approach that we take when helping people frame their audience, is you need to be singular in your overarching message and story, from your brand essence, your tone of voice, and through the beer you brew itself. You should never shift your brewery's core messaging at all. And your story should be a constant through line in all your communications. This isn't to say that a specific beer, let's say a low-cal lager, for example, can't be specifically targeted towards one group, but your brewery's brand and story itself shouldn't shift when targeting them. The larger brewery story is there and should be there and support a more focused product benefit for that particular audience itself. Okay, so if segmentation isn't the best approach for your brewery, how can you research your customers? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Let's start internally by having your team answer some simple qualitative questions. To make this painless, you can send out a survey via email, or you can have your team take a more long-form approach and answer some of these questions, really however they want to do it and whatever fits your culture the best. So we find that, quick note there, we find that sales folks, taproom staff, and your distributors are indispensable partners for this exercise because they are your frontline team. They're your deliverers. And they're out there talking to your customers on a daily basis, listening to what they like, seeing what's out in the market, what they don't like, and what people want to see from your brewery. For the most candid results, this survey should be anonymous and feature no obligatory answers in case someone's not comfortable for whatever reason answering something. So you can use a free service like SurveyMonkey or something like that. We detail that in the craftbeerrebranded.com, so go check that out. Some sample survey questions that you can ask during this process can include, select the following brand values that you think apply to a brewery, and then some examples there could be, innovation, community, passion, DIY, traditional, etc. Another question could be, why do you work at our brewery? What's the coolest thing about our brewery? Who do you think are our biggest customers? How are we different from competition? List any positive or negative feedback you've heard about our beer, branding, or packaging, and then maybe what emotions should our brand evoke. Now, let's discuss external context gathering. So you are sitting across from your ideal customers every day in your tap room. That is your existing customers. And most people love to be asked for their opinion. It's a sign of respect and a chance for them to sound off as experts. So who doesn't like that? Our goal here is to build an audience profile. Now you can gather this info with surveys like we mentioned. You can do this over social media or in your newsletter, or you can have taproom customers fill out brief surveys as well. If you're doing this over social media, you should be careful to not show your hand that you are rebranding, assuming you want to control the narrative and not give that away yet. We'll discuss that in a later video about launching your rebrand. So some survey questions can include: what is your age, gender, or occupation? What are your favorite beer styles? How often do you come here? What other breweries do you frequent? What is your favorite thing about our brewery? What is your least favorite thing about our brewery? Why did you come here today? What are some of your hobbies? And perhaps most importantly, what is your spirit animal? This can't all be serious, people. Once you have that data gathered, it's time to put this into a usable form. So we are big fans of customer personas for this. Now, a customer persona is a profile of your ideal customer that includes a breakdown of their demographics, personality traits, values, and stories. Now, you can base these off of real customers, that can be valuable, or you can build a composite of several people to use as a general representation of your audience itself. Either way, they're valuable because they give your ideal customer a face, a name, and a story. And you can pair a photo of these people, again, real or fake, with this text to add more context to branding and marketing decisions that you have to make down the line. Here's an example of a suburban brew pub. Our ideal customers are parents, it's Jack and Jody. They're both college grads and they have 2 kids under 7 years old. So between long work hours and the kids' various after-school activities, the jiu-jitsu and gymnastics and Cub Scouts, they're starved for time. But a few nights a week, it's nice to stop in and feed the kids and have a beer with dinner. Just one, of course. And they value healthy-ish food, great beer, and family-friendly atmosphere with no loud TVs or obnoxious college-aged drunks. Let's contrast this persona with an example for a downtown brewery tap room, their persona. So our ideal customer is a young professional named Rhonda. In this case, she's 29 years old. She's the most senior developer at her technology company, a startup, and she has every day dialed in like clockwork. She gets up at 4:30 a.m. She hits CrossFit by 5. She's at work by 7. She's at home by 6 p.m. to walk her dog. Then she goes out for a quick beer with her colleagues at 7:30. She loves IPAs and Belgians. She values a stylish venue, great background music, and friendly service. Hi, Rhonda. Customer personas are a fun activity that can be repeated periodically. They should be repeated periodically to see how your audience is evolving and if you need to do anything new to accommodate them. Instead of thinking in terms, the reason this is cool is instead of thinking in terms of just your P&L, you can think through whether or not Jack and Jody would appreciate a trivia night at your brewery, or would Rhonda be interested in joining your loyalty program. Customer personas can humanize what can otherwise be sterile business decisions and provide much needed context. I think that's it. That should do it for today. In our next video, we're going to be discussing the importance of goals and goal setting through your rebrand. Thanks for watching today. Again, head over to craftbeerrebranded.com and grab your book bundle to learn more about everything that I'm talking about here and learn how to rebrand your brewery. And we will be back with you guys soon. Cheers.